No matter what you believe or where you stand theologically, you need to watch this teaching all the way through. If you need to, put it at 2x. Now is the time for everyone to truly test what they believe. Hey, this is Off the Cuff, and I'm Steve from TorahFamily.org. We're discussing the 144,000 today. Those we see sealed here in chapter 7. 12,000 from the noted 12 tribes. As I've noted before in our teaching on the Church of Philadelphia, I sincerely believe the 144,000 are the men from the Church of Philadelphia. After the men are counted, we see the rest of the church around the throne seen here in verses 9 through 12. But regarding the 144,000, there's only one other time in history that Yahweh had the men numbered, and that was for war in the book of Numbers. Thus, this time we see in Revelation is Yeshua numbering the men for war for the battle of Armageddon, those riding behind Yeshua. Now, notice what's spoken of regarding the Church of Philadelphia here in Revelation chapter 3. It says they've kept his word and not denied his name. This is important. That being said, I believe it's very possible that the 144,000 represent all faithful believers throughout all history, from the time of Adam through today. These are not just men chosen from those who will be alive at the time of the resurrection. The 144,000 will consist of men from the Church of Philadelphia throughout all history up to that moment. The faithful throughout all time. Now, while that may sound crazy, remember, only 8 were found faithful at the time of the flood. That ratio alone shows this isn't a far-fetched view. And while there has definitely been revivals throughout the history of mankind, the Church of Philadelphia consists of those who remained faithful in keeping his word and not denying his name. They are the faithful believers. These 144,000 are mentioned again and described a little for us in Revelation 14. Let's read it. Revelation 14:1. Then I looked, and behold, on Mount Zion stood the Lamb, and with him 144,000, who had his name and his Father's name written on their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, like the roar of many waters, and like the sound of loud thunder. The voice I heard was like the sound of harpists playing on their harps. And they were singing a new song before the throne, and before the 4 living creatures, and before the elders. No one could learn the song except the 144,000 who had been redeemed from the earth. It is these who have not defiled themselves with women, for they are virgins. It is these who follow the Lamb wherever he goes. These have been redeemed from mankind as first fruits for God and the Lamb. And in their mouth no lie was found, for they are blameless. Now, a few things to note regarding these individuals. 1. They have been redeemed from the earth. This shows these individuals have already been resurrected. The resurrection is the redemption, that which was promised by Yeshua when things begin, as seen here in Luke 21:28. The redemption when things begin. This is referencing the redemption of our bodies that Paul spoke of here in Romans chapter 8, verse 23. And also here in Ephesians chapter 1 and Ephesians chapter 4. So, it's evident these individuals have partaken in the first resurrection. Thus, they partake in the transformation of taking on spiritual bodies as noted here in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. If there is a natural body, there is also a spiritual body. This is important to note because the following points regarding these individuals are spiritual just the same. Number 2, it says they have not defiled themselves with women, for they are virgins. While one can say this is a literal attribute of these individuals, we have to ask where we draw the line on taking something literally and spiritually. You see, in the very same verse, the Greek says they are first fruits to God. Though English translations say as first fruits, that's not what the Greek says. The Greek doesn't say as. It simply says they are first fruits. As I've noted in other teachings, Revelation is truly a tale of two women, the bride and the harlot. That being said, we know the bride is to be pure, spotless, a virgin. Is that not what's presented about these individuals? And we know, as 2 Corinthians 5:17 says, all who are in Messiah are a new creation. The old is past, all things made new. Spiritually speaking, a virgin waiting for the bridegroom. Anyone who is not made new in him remains in their spiritual state of harlotry with the world. As seen with Israel in the Old Testament, James 4:4 shows one can be adulterous with the world even after coming to faith in Yeshua. Again, spiritually speaking. And number 3, in their mouth no lie was found, for they are blameless. So, what exactly does that mean? Psalm 119, verse 1. Blessed are they whose ways are blameless, who walk according to the law of Yahweh. Showing what? One who pursues the Torah, the law, is blameless. Ephesians chapter 1, verse 4. For he chose us in him before the creation of the world to be holy and blameless in his sight. So what is Paul referencing here? Where is it written that Yahweh chose us to be holy and blameless? Paul's referencing where the Torah is actually given in Leviticus 19. Verse 2 specifically says, be holy because I, Yahweh your God, am holy. And again, this is in the midst of him giving the instructions of the Torah. And he tells us to be blameless in Deuteronomy 18. Verse 9 says, when you enter the land Yahweh your God is giving you, do not learn to imitate the detestable ways of the nations there. He then explains some of the ways in verses 10 through 12 and closes out by saying, you must be blameless before Yahweh your God. Blameless. Just as we saw the parents of John the Baptist were blameless in pursuing all that Yahweh had commanded. In fact, it's here with Zechariah and his wife Elizabeth where we see the connection of how the 144,000 had no lie in their mouth, for they were blameless. You see, many believe the element of no lie being found in their mouth means they never spoke a lie. But I'm here to tell you that's not the lies this verse is talking about in Revelation 14. Revelation 14 is telling us they only proclaimed the Torah. Everything else is lies. Consider Jeremiah 16. O Yahweh, my strength and my stronghold, my refuge in the day of trouble. To you shall the nations come from the ends of the earth and say, our fathers have inherited nothing but lies, worthless things which there is no profit. The problem is, some people are following those very same lies today. Anyone who proclaims anything that is not in 100% alignment with the Torah is proclaiming lies, just like the Pharisees did. Remember, the Pharisees didn't follow the Torah. They followed what was passed down to them from their fathers, just as we see noted here in Jeremiah 16:19. And yet, ironically, those who pursue the Torah today are called Pharisees by those who don't pursue the Torah, even though the Pharisees didn't pursue the Torah. In fact, in John chapter 8, Yeshua told the Pharisees the devil was their father and that the devil is the father of lies, thus the father of all false religions and beliefs. The 144,000 only proclaimed the Torah. They added nothing to it and took nothing from it as commanded in the Torah. That's why they can sing the song of Moses. He gave the Torah. They pursued the Torah, and only the Torah, as given through Moses. It's the Torah that we're to follow still to this very day. 1 John chapter 2, verse 3. We know that we have come to know him if we obey his commands. The man who says, I know him, but does not do what he commands is a liar. And the truth is not in him. But if anyone obeys his word, God's love is truly made complete in him. This is how we know we are in him. Whoever claims to live in him must walk as Jesus did. Verse 4 again. The man who says, I know him, but does not do what he commands, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. Do you see it? If one comes to him in faith, but if they don't continue in that faith by obeying his commands, they're a liar. This exempts them from being a part of the 144,000. Some might say, oh, but Steve, Jesus never commanded us to obey the Torah. But he did. Matthew 23, verse 1. Then Jesus said to the crowds and to his disciples, the teachers of the law and the Pharisees sit in Moses' seat. So you must obey them and do everything they tell you. But do not do what they do, for they do not practice what they preach. So the Pharisees taught the law, but they didn't follow it. And Yeshua told us to obey what Moses gave. That's the Torah. And in Matthew 28, he told the disciples to teach the nations what he taught them. What was that? To obey Moses. Those in 1 John chapter 2 may have come to Yeshua in faith, but because they continue in the lies passed down to them, the truth is not in them. Thus, as given in John 14, obedience is required on the part of the believer. Verse 15, 21, 23, and 24 shows it. If we don't produce the fruit, the obedience, chapter 15 shows we will get cut off. Again, he said in John 14:15, if you love me, you will obey what I command. Well, what did he command? To obey Moses. And he told us not to do what the Pharisees do. They didn't follow the Torah. What did they do? They followed the traditions passed down to them. Because they didn't follow the commands of the Torah, they were liars. Just like John said in 1 John chapter 2, the man who says, I know him, but does not do what he commands, is a liar, and the truth is not in him. And we know where all liars go, as given in Revelation chapter 21, verse 8. And remember, this is John talking, the same one who wrote Revelation. So he's not mixing words from 1 John 2:4. And please know, all these traits noted in Revelation 21, verse 8, are directly related to breaking the Torah. That's right, Yahweh's eternal instructions. The cowardly, Deuteronomy 31, verse 6. The unbelieving, Numbers 14, verse 11. And Hebrews chapter 3, verses 16 through 19. The detestable, Leviticus chapter 18, verses 29 and 30. The murderers, Exodus chapter 20, verse 13. And Leviticus chapter 20, verses 1 through 5. The sexually immoral, Leviticus 18, Leviticus 20. The sorcerers, Deuteronomy 18, verse 10. The idolaters, Exodus chapter 20, verse 4, and Leviticus 26, verse 1. And he concludes this by saying, and all liars. we read this as a separate group. However, he's saying it as, and all liars, meaning, and all the others who follow the false religions and beliefs of the world. The 144,000 didn't follow the lies passed down to them. They returned to the ancient path of Torah, as prophesied by Moses himself in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 30, and Deuteronomy chapter 30, verses 1 through 3. Yes, Moses prophesied his people would return to the ways of Torah in the latter days. As I said at the beginning of this teaching, now is the time for everyone to truly test what we believe. If you hold to anything that opposes Yahweh's eternal word, the Torah, then you're putting yourself in danger. What are you holding to today that doesn't agree with the Torah? Remember the words of Yeshua in Matthew chapter 7. On that day, many will say to me, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and do many mighty works in your name? And then I will declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. Don't hold on to the lies passed down through the church fathers. Look and see if what you believe agrees 100% with the Torah, that which Moses gave. If it doesn't, then you're holding on to and proclaiming lies. Now is the time to return to the Torah as prophesied by Moses. Then we'll be able to sing the song of Moses as given in Revelation. Don't hold on to lies. Obey him today. Ride with him tomorrow. Well, that's all I have. Think about it. Pray about it. But more than anything, be a doer of the word and not a hearer only. Until next time, shalom.